Captain Forest here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over both these combatants to see who would win more often not in a cross-verse situation. Omni-Man vs Bardock. And if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for the content. Also shoutouts to Karimbas, he was a huge help with the Bardock section, much appreciated to him. So I'm going to go ahead, dive in, talk about Omni-Man, and then I'm going to move on and talk about Bardock and then give my thoughts near the end of the video. Easily, Omni-Man would range around the multi-continental to planetary ranges, as heroes like Brit have fought characters like Thoth and Seth, whose powers threaten to devastate planets. Tech Jacket struggles to fight Viltrumites. Tech Jacket fought a villain named Null, who fought their version of Galactus, who's a world eater threat. Omni-Man, alongside with his son Mark and another Viltrumite, destroyed their entire planet, but the context is that the insane heat could have killed them, so they had to work together to hit the exact mark to avoid overloading from the heat rather than the force. Now, why does Omni-Man scale to Tech Jacket and Brit? Omni-Man explains to Mark on how the Viltrumites themselves are the greatest threat to the galaxy, in the sense that they are unrivaled in terms of combat. As we see, Viltrumites prefer violence and combat. Omni-Man himself is also flat out stated to be the strongest hero on Earth, so naturally he would upscale. Omni-Man is also considered to be amongst the strongest members of his race, so this would also make sense and just add more consistency to it. Viltrumites themselves have consistently been stated to be planetary threats and destroy planets with ease if they felt like it. In a crossover, Omni-Man fought Supreme to a standstill, who can casually destroy planets with ease. This feat was couched around the 27.884 zetatons of TNT, aka small planetary. Now, that's going to wrap up Omni-Man's attack potency. Let's jump over and talk about speed. So there is a feat for Omni-Man where he flies a galactic distance. This was calced around the 3 billion times the speed of light. However, there is some context behind this, folks, which I failed to mention in my Nova vs Invincible video. Omni-Man would have to compress space in order to travel through space, but by doing so, this speed feat is slower, which this feat was calced around the 206 times the speed of light. Now, there is some contentions whether people accept this or not, but for the sake of things, I will still keep the 3 billion times the speed of light in this video, and I'll still mention it anyway. Now, there is another speed feat which was done by Alan the Alien, which Invincible scales to, and Omni-Man obviously upscales from Mark, and this would easily scale him to the 69,305 times the speed of light, aka massively faster than light plus, and as I said before, Omni-Man scales to this too. Okay, so that's going to round up speed. Let's go ahead and move over and talk about Omni-Man some more. So Omni-Man's Viltrumite physiology allows him to live for thousands of years, aging at a highly deaccelerated rate, and he grows more powerful with age. Viltrumite physiology aggressively self-repairs and adapts, and surviving near-death experiences only heightens their already impressive strength. Viltrumites can hold their breath in space for 2 weeks straight before gasping for air. Viltrumites have control over a unique substance in their bodies called smart atoms. These smart atoms have a variety of attributes, such as adapting their bodies to resist environmental changes to the body, such as venturing and holding their breath in space, needing oxygen less for survival. Smart atoms can also absorb the energy around the environment to aid survivability, and they also act as a natural force field to concussive attacks. Omni-Man can remove the gravity restrictions placed upon himself and other beings in order to allow himself to levitate and fly while maintaining his speed levels. Omni-Man is capable of generating shockwaves with a clap. Omni-Man is incredibly resilient, surviving massive beatings to the brink of death and being beaten up to a bloody mess, yet he's able to still get up and continue to fight. Even with these injuries, Omni-Man is still stated to have his full strength intact. Viltrumites are virtually inexhaustible in terms of stamina. Viltrumite cells are immune to every earthly poison, disease, and radiations. He is incredibly resilient to hot and cold temperatures, ranging up into the 3,588 Kelvin, the heat of a star, along with surviving temperatures down to the 158 Kelvin, near absolute zero temperatures. Viltrumites also have a rage boost amp, so depending on how serious the situation is, their stats increase when they are angry, so it's kind of like their own warrior's madness, but unfortunately it's a little bit unquantifiable. And lastly, Omni-Man has been training and fighting for over thousands of years, effectively becoming part of the elite members of the Viltrumites. Okay, that's going to wrap up Omni-Man. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Bardock. Now, my good friend Karimbas made an in-depth video on the moon busting feat that was performed by Master Roshi. So if you guys have not checked that out, I'll leave a link in the description. He goes into incredible detail and the mathematics behind this feat that was performed by Master Roshi. But nonetheless, Master Roshi plays a key factor into this scaling, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about him now. So Master Roshi obviously demonstrates the feat where he was able to destroy the moon. Now the speed behind him destroying the moon was very quick, very fast. This feat is far more impressive than just your average moon level feat. This feat is actually a lot more stronger than moon level, as Master Roshi generated enough energy to destroy Earth 8 times over, which is very impressive. This would pretty much place Master Roshi vastly above moon level. It would place him around the 431 cetatons of TNT, aka planet level. Very impressive. Master Roshi's power level was also only 139 during that time, and Bardock, before he got a Zenkai boost from fighting Dodoria, who was said to be approaching King Vegeta, or to be close to having the power level of 10,000. So Bardock easily would be 590 times the energy to destroy Earth, placing Bardock in the 31,000 cetatons of AP. Now we can easily get Bardock higher than this, folks, as Piccolo, while weighted and also using just one hand instead of two, as shown in his fight against Raditz, was able to destroy the moon with 222 times that force. This very same Piccolo, while weighted, had the power level of 322. So Bardock, who has the power level of 10,000, would be 6,910 times the energy needed to destroy Earth, placing Bardock in the 331,000 utatons of TNT, aka large planet level. Another feat that comes in mind was a feat that was performed by Vegeta when he destroys planet Alia casually. This feat in question was calced around the 10.93 tenatons of TNT, aka small star level, and Bardock, with the power level of 10,000, would scale to this. If we include Bardock's Super Saiyan form, would grant him a 50 times increase to his stats, putting him in the star level tiers. Very impressive. Now that's going to wrap up Bardock's AP. I'm going to go ahead and touch on speed now. So Bardock would scale massively above the likes of Kid Goku, who only had a power level of 180. This very same Kid Goku is able to consistently dodge light speed attacks. This was showcased when Goku was able to dodge the solar flare from Tien and avoid laser fire from the Red Ribbon Arby's mech. This would mean that Bardock is 55.5 times faster than this Goku, which is very impressive. Bardock also can turn into the Great Ape. When a Saiyan transforms into a Great Ape, it amplifies their stats by 10, making them faster and stronger. So if Bardock was to turn into the Great Ape, his attack power and speed would increase by 10 times. So if you add this as well as his Super Saiyan form, Bardock is getting very high in the speed tiers and the AP tiers too. So anyway, that's going to wrap up Bardock in terms of AP and speed. I'm going to move on and talk about some of the other things he brings on the table. So like many Saiyans, Bardock comes equipped with his Scouter. Scouter is a device that analyzes the power level of a person's power, speed and skill. This is used to help the user gauge the opponent's stats. Now folks, we all know in Dragon Ball that Chi is physical, spiritual and mental in nature. Chi can also atomize you on an atomic level, and Bardock himself can use Chi based attacks, and he has his own signature moves such as his trusty Riot Javelin and the final Spirit Cannon. Now as a Saiyan warrior, Bardock is tactical and skillful when it comes to combat, making him a very dangerous combatant, especially with his Super Saiyan form and his Great Ape transformation, allowing him to become vastly stronger in combat. But anyway, that's going to wrap up Bardock. I'm going to go ahead, move on, give my thoughts on who I think wins more often than not in a cross-verse situation. Okay, so let's break this fight down. In terms of attack potency, Bardock takes it, easily scaling above characters such as Vegeta, who can blow up planet Alia, which was calced around Small Star. And Small Star, in comparison to Omniman's planetary stuff, it just blows it out the water. The gap is just too huge, and if we include the multipliers of Super Saiyan form and of course the Great Ape form, if he transforms into those forms, it just makes the gap even wider. Now as for speed, depending on which route you take, easily Omni-Man would be faster if we go off the higher interpretations, but if we stick with like the more consistent mid ends or low ends, Bardock would take speed due to his multipliers and being faster than other characters. And of course if we include Super Saiyan and the Great Ape amplifications, then it would just make Bardock even more faster and he just blitz. So it depends on what categories you want to go for speed. It's a little more debatable what you believe in terms of the Invincible verse, because there's kind of a contention about the speed metas. But anyway, Now, what about abilities? Who's going to win in a fisticuffs? So obviously Bardock has higher AP, so he'd be able to physically damage Omni-Man. Now Omni-Man, of course, being a Viltrumite, his genetics and what it entails being a warrior, he has really good endurance, really good willpower. It's kind of hard to take down, but if the AP gap is just way too huge, Omni-Man's not going to be able to keep it up for long. Now of course, if we're going off the assumption that they're pretty relative or Bardock is faster, then Omni-Man's not going to last very long. He's going to get beaten up very easily. Now of course, what about the chi attacks? Now you could make arguments that, you know, with the chi being spiritual, mental, those things could affect Omni-Man on those levels. And of course, chi does atomize you on an atomic level, and I haven't seen anything for Omni-Man being able to take something on that degree. So if he gets hit with that atomizing chi, especially with the huge AP gap not in his favor, he's going to get atomized and turn into little atoms. So that's going to be a huge issue, especially if Bardock hits him with a riot javelin. That's going to be an issue. That's going to completely wipe out Omni-Man. And then even if we grant Omni-Man the fastest speed advantage, Omni-Man doesn't have the AP to deal with Bardock. He's just going to be dragging the fight on, just prolonging the inevitable. Ultimately, I see Bardock taking him out. And if Bardock does resort to his super form or his grey ape form, he could just increase his own speed. And Bardock is very tactical due to his Saiyan heritage. He's very smart, so he would know what to do. So more often than not, I gotta give victory to Bardock from my personal take, just based off the information that I've presented and what I see more often than not. I'd say at least low diff, maybe mid diff if you award the speed more to, of course, Omni-Man, but Omni-Man just doesn't have the options available to him in order to take out Bardock. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for the content. But yeah, it's been real. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.